Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly, and this is Heather, and you are joining us for Real Conversations with Kelly. Today, we are going to talk about going through the cycle and being stuck in the cycle. So let's get started.
All right. Cycle is what you're talking about, is all of our cycles that we do on a daily basis and why we get stuck in them.
Sometimes when we get into the cycle of being in the cycle, it's almost like if something detours us from what we're used to.
Well, I
Right?
have a pretty good definition. I tell my clients all the time is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Ah, yes.
And
Yes.
that to me is a cycle. And that is, as a therapist, I work with my clients to change. We're re-educating their bodies so that they can do things differently in a body that will support them in a better way, better function, better strength, better balance. That is how I help my clients get out of their stuckness of being in the cycle of what they're doing.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I love that.
talk about then cycles other than that. And we're not talking about women's cycles. We're talking about literally the things that you put on repeat every single day that are getting you the results that you currently have. It's a box that you're putting yourself in every single day. So talk to us about why we're stuck. Why can't we get unstuck? What's happening?
I believe that it's our self-talk.
Yep.
It is the self-talk. It's like you can have anything that you want, but you have taught yourself this cycle of life and way of thinking, and you're like, well, I can't make that much money. No, jump out of the cycle. Jump out of what you believe. It's actually limiting beliefs that
Exactly
you
what it
have put
is.
out there. You have put out there for yourself. I can attest to it. I said to myself, about 6 months ago, I said, I am done. I am ready to get online, do my podcast, put together programs. I'm ready to do this. And I know that I've said that and I keep saying it, but I was caught in a cycle
Right.
of I am not worthy, shame, blame. I kept doing that. And that cycle, shame, blame, is detrimental to who you are. And you are better than that. Completely. I mean, Heather, oh my gosh, we've known each other forever. And so whenever we're in the shame blame game, we always call each other and talk through it. And then, we come out on the other side. So it's almost like I'm going to give you an example. It's almost like when a hamster gets on a wheel and it says, okay, I'm going to go somewhere else. So I'm going to exercise and I'm going to go somewhere else. So it jumps on that wheel and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And it doesn't get anywhere else.
That's right.
It can go faster. It can go slower. It just depends. But once it gets off and it goes around the little wheel and then goes into the tunnel that goes into the other part, then that's when you break the cycle.
Right. You have to, it's almost as if you were going to break a cycle, you have to make a bold jump or a bold leap.
Yes.
Because you're on that hamster wheel and you see that sign coming up, right turn, keep going, right turn, keep going. Oh, I don't know if I want to do the right turn. Keep going, keep going. Oh, left turn. Oh, keep going, keep going. Should I do right turn? Should I do left turn? And years keep going on and on and on
Yes.
until like physically one day the hamster goes, this is crazy. You see that right turn, you prepare for that right turn in the sense of, okay, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, boom. And you have to leap. You just
Right.
stinking have to leap. That's the only way you're going to break the cycle. That's it.
Right.
The only way.
And it's believing, it's changing your viewpoint of what's going to happen when you do leave.
Yes. Yeah.
It is completely so. It is starting that whole, it's taking your whole belief system and turning it upside down. It's like taking a toy box, and saying, okay, we're cleaning everything out and turning it upside down.
Yeah.
And that's what I always have said to my friends. I think my toy box was turned upside down because sometimes you're unprepared for that toy box to turn upside down.
Well, that's the whole point.
Right.
Is you don't have to be prepared in that sense because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
That's the gift.
That is the gift. But sometimes we get scared. Sometimes we're scared what we're going to find at the bottom of the toy box. It might be a brand new toy.
Yeah,
it might be a brand new toy. It might be something that we've never played with before that we weren't old enough to play with. But now we can because we've learned from the other toys in the toy box that, oh my gosh, I can now play with this. I can now, let's say it's a telescope. And I was playing, with Legos before, and now it's a telescope, and I can actually look at the stars and everything. How cool is that?
How cool is that?
But it's recognizing it.
Yeah.
It's recognizing what you can do because everybody has the ability to do amazing things with their life.
Absolutely.
You just have to believe.
Okay, so here's the deal. Once we get to that place, it almost becomes a doable thing because we're in the place of looking for something. We're ready. However, there are so many people that are still stuck in that cycle that they don't even see the cycle. They don't even have a clue that they're in a cycle. So talk a little bit about that.
No. I have been in so many cycles.
Yeah. We all have.
I mean, I've gone from a Schwinn to a
That's great. 10 speed.
How do you know?
People are coming to our show to listen to new ideas. They're feeling stuck. Maybe that's the first. Your first clue is
you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Is you feel stuck. Right. And as Mel Robbins says, you lay in bed. That's the first thing that you do is you lay in bed and you cannot get out of bed. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, if I get out of bed, then I know that I'm going to be angry. I don't want to see anybody. No, I don't want to take a shower. Been there so many times. And you just want to crawl into a hole. And that is your first clue that you are in a cycle. Is that you don't want to really be around anybody else. You don't want to talk to anybody else because they might actually give you something to make you jump out of your cycle.
Ooh,
and you almost feel comfortable being miserable.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh, that is it. That is totally it. It's really interesting because when we say real conversations with Kelly, that's when I get my epiphanies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is when I start talking about something and go, oh my gosh, I can remember sitting in my apartment. This was probably 8, 9 years ago, and just sitting in my apartment, and I was miserable. All I wanted to do was just sleep.
Mm.
And I would get Tilly up in bed with me and go, okay, we're spending 2 days just sleeping and hanging out. And I mean, I wouldn't even turn on the TV.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
just felt miserable. And then I would eat sugar. I would have a hamburger. I would go through a drive-through and just eat crap.
Pretty much self-destruct.
Yes. It's almost like I would say, okay, well, I'm this deep in. Why don't I just dig it
Yeah.
deeper? Let's just do
Yeah.
it. Let's just
Like
go there.
telling yourself, I don't care anymore. Today, I don't care.
Right.
I don't
Right.
care.
Yes. And one of my favorite lines is, I'm done.
Mm.
And how I got myself out of it was I actually picked up the phone and I would call somebody and say, hey, you want to go to have dinner tomorrow night? Or you want to go and have lunch? What's going on? What's happening? I started that cycle of just communicating. I think communication is the key for you
Mhm.
to actually step off the wheel,
Oh, that's great.
because I felt like I mattered, because I can actually remember a moment where I went to lunch with my BFF, and we were sitting there talking, and I was kind of telling her just a teeny bit of what was happening, but yet not so much that I would have to jump off that wheel. But then she was talking about her life and what was happening, and I think that I went over to my sisters after that, and it's engaging. It's engaging and communicating with people. And I started seeing what everybody else was doing, and I was like, oh, well, that looks like fun. Okay. Well, maybe I can do that. And I took it one day at a time and slowly got myself out of it. And I will say it did take me a little while.
Uh-huh.
It, I mean, it's not an overnight thing, because when
Oh,
you're stuck, you are stuck. And to even realize that you're stuck, that is 90% of getting unstuck, because you're aware that you've actually stepped in quicksand
mhm,
and you're going down.
mhm.
and you are in that misery, and so many people are there, whether it's because you're in the menopause cycle, or whether it's because you're in the misery of I don't have a man cycle, or you're in the misery of, oh my gosh, I'm in this horrible relationship cycle, or my kids are horrible cycle. Whatever cycle it is. I'm never going to be anything cycle. I want to be more religious cycle. I think I want to be spiritual cycle. I mean, whatever that is.
Mhm, mhm. No,
And once you say, I'm stuck, then you take that step, and you actually step out of the movement of that cycle, and you go, wow, okay. Take a deep breath. And then you just start engaging. And it's all about engaging and communicating with people.
I love that when you recognize that you can't get out of bed. So that's a great realization that you're in a cycle. I think that is wonderful. The second thing that I was thinking about is you have to get to the point where you realize that you are the only one that can get you out of that cycle. Once you know you're in a cycle, then the next step of that is realizing you are the only one. The only one. Nobody is coming to your rescue. They could try. They could call you. Hey, how's it going? You want to go do this? You want to go do? No. But you are the only one that can make it happen.
Right.
And then as you jump, that's when you can start to see the other side, what you were just saying about being able to see that things are good. That you can start to progress. So I want to go into a little bit more about your experiences with a certain therapy that you found. And you can name it if you want to, or you don't have to name it if you don't want to, but it's a therapy that you are using to be able to get out of your cycle. So tell us how you found that, what you were seeking for, how it came into your space, and then the realizations you've had, as well as where you are now in thanks to that. I want to hear your journey with it.
Okay. It was about probably almost, well, it was like a year and a half ago. And one of my friends said, hey, we're doing this network spinal. And that is the name of the program, of the modality.
Okay.
And come and try it out. And I'm always game for something because I knew that I knew I was stuck. I mean, completely stuck. I had had some amazing things happen to me, but those amazing things didn't make up for where I was.
Right.
And so I said, okay, take me, let's go. So I went and walked in and I thought, okay, this feels good. Met with the practitioner. They actually did it's almost like a biofeedback. Biofeedback on me and, hooked me up and yeah, it showed I was in real trouble. It showed that my stress level, my just everything, my nervous system was completely out of whack. And I knew it was, but I didn't know how to fix it. I mean, so many of us are out there and we're like, yeah, I feel like I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. Okay. Well, now I know you can actually do something about it because this network spinal deals with your nervous system in your spine. And so I went, did all the pre-work, and then I literally took a leap of faith and I said, I'm going to do this.
Leap of faith.
I'm going to do it. I have to do it. So I started and I went every week, had 2 sessions every week for 1 year. That's how bad I was. And I could do 2 sessions back to back.
Like the same day sessions or like a Monday, Tuesday, or they back to back?
They said no, back to back. Like I would go and it would be 1 session, then I would wait for like 15 minutes, walk around,
gotcha.
And then they would do the next session. So it would be on 1 visit, but 2 sessions.
Gotcha.
And I literally can feel a difference in my life, how I deal with things. I'm a lot calmer. I'm still fun, but I'm a lot calmer.
Are you saying that if we're calm, we're not fun? Like, wait a second, that's not
Well,
what we're
if I'm
saying.
calm, then you know I'm up to something. But it really, I I saw the progression and how and where I was going. And they actually take you in and they hook you up to the biofeedback um, monitor like I want to say it was every 3 months.
Mm. To
And I
monitor your
could
progress, like
correct to
scores and
see your
okay.
to see the progress of where you are and where your stress level is, where your nervous system is stressed. And by the end of last year, it was on its way to being right where it needs to be. And I feel like this is what really has gotten me to where I am right now. And it's for me. But I now see and feel so different. And I experience life different. I experience people different. And when I listen to something or I'm listening to somebody talk, I actually find myself listening to them instead of thinking, what's the story that I can tell right after this? What is it that I can tell? I actually listen to them and then I absorb it and then I speak. So that's just one thing that I've noticed about myself.
Well, I'm going to tell on you.
Okay.
You ready?
Mhm. Tell on me.
So you mentioned something that I thought was pretty funny. That while going through this network spinal modality sessions, you had noticed that it moved your inner
My inner bit.
your inner pitch.
Yes.
Yep, it moved it.
Yes.
That is,
Yes, it
to
did.
me, I laugh only because you are a very strong personality. You are born very strong personality. We've talked on this podcast many times on the upbringing and where you come from. So you can be overly aggressive sometimes. And so for you to have said that, to have recognized it, that it has moved that inner being of yourself, that's pretty powerful.
It has.
That would, to me, that would change your relationship with not only yourself, but with your friends, your family, your business acquaintances, pretty much everything, even to the point of what we talked about in the last episode of finding fun in your life, the laughter of the
Mhm.
things that happened while you were on vacation.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
huge gift.
and before it would have made my trip miserable.
Right. Yeah.
And it's deciding in that moment. Oh my gosh, look.
Yeah.
It's still in the car.
Yeah.
The gas pump's still in the car,
Yep.
I mean, and it didn't disconnect from the whole thing, so
Yeah. For those of that who haven't listened to the last
yeah,
episode,
right.
please do. There were some funny situational stories that happened, one involving a gas hose still in the car. She drove off. So go back and listen to it.
Yes. But yeah, there are so many moments that I can tell that I have become.
Mm.
I have become Kelly, the expanded Kelly, if you. I believe I believe so wholeheartedly and strongly that everyone needs to take a step back and look at what you're not having fun with,
Mhm.
what you're, you know, what you're experiencing and you're like getting all worked up about. That just sends your stress level to the highest point. And why do that? Gosh, I used to do that all the time. It just took me back to that feeling when I was talking about it. So, and it's not worth it. It is not worth it. The older I get, the more I feel that I just want to be. I just want to be. I do not want to be in that cycle anymore. I want to be Kelly.
Well,
I
that's
want to
your new
be,
cycle.
that's my new cycle. I want to be in the
Yeah.
Kelly cycle.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit with that being said, we're always going to be in cycles. That's just the way that our life goes. So there
Hmm.
are some that don't necessarily have to be bad.
Right.
You're moving into a state of being Kelly. That's a new cycle that you're exploring, that you're evolving, that maybe you're building some speed in your hamster wheel around that.
Hmm.
And maybe it's time to figure out how fast you can make that hamster wheel go within that
Hmm.
until it's time to jump out to the right again.
Right.
We can
Right.
forever be evolving within different cycles. The key
E-
is recognizing what cycle are
Exactly.
you in?
Exactly. And this brings up a good point because I used to create my cycles out
Mm.
of vision boards that I could
Oh, okay.
never attain because I was still in my old cycle.
Oh, that is so good. I believe sometimes we, and especially in the communities that we love to hang out in,
Hmm.
just because you put it up on a vision board doesn't
Yes.
mean that it's just going to magically appear if your thought process is still in a non-possible prosperous
Yes.
way,
Prosperous.
or
Mhm.
yeah, there's the word, or in a non-possible mentality every day, it's not going to appear. It's just not going to.
Right.
There isn't a belief
Right.
behind it. Yeah.
Right. And I feel the difference. I totally feel the difference today. And I have not done, we're probably going to do a podcast on vision boards or intention boards. We have to,
Okay.
because I feel like that my whole cycle is completely different, and my viewpoint and my belief
Got it.
is completely different.
So maybe it'll be a vision board done right.
Yes. 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 So that sounds like a challenge.
I know. Now I'm thinking, oh, snap, we've just said it. Because
Sounds like a challenge.
I have just really never been hugely into it.
Mhm.
Back in the day, when you told me, you being collective you, do this vision board and cut up these magazines, find the car that you want, find the house that you want, find this. I don't know. I just never got into it.
Right.
So I come to you in this cycle of my life. I'll be open. Teach me a different way. And you know what? At the end of the day, it may not be my way. And so I have to remember that. Give myself some grace. It still might not be my way.
Right. Right.
What will be great, though, is to see about vision boards done right in the sense of where is your thought process? Where are your habits? What are you thinking? Where are your actions? Which will ultimately give you your results.
Right. And it's a cycle because I say, in this corner, it's relationships. So we
Mm,
just go around.
sure.
And then in the center, it is you. And what are you wanting from this? So you create that cycle. So, okay, I'm excited. We've got our next podcast. Definitely, because I really feel like that I am creating a new cycle, and it is about to catapult out of this world. And I want to take all of you along with me. I don't want to leave anybody behind unless you choose to be behind.
Right. It's a choice.
It is a choice. So you decide. I'm ready to create my new cycle, and I want you to create your new cycle.
Sign me up. I'm ready.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And wow, this was amazing. I love it. Love it. Love it. We'll see you next week on Real Conversations with Kelly. Have a great day.